Enums Part 3. One other cool thing about an enum is that each variant has a number, an invisible number that you can kind of reference. And I'll show you what that looks like. So let's say we have an enum and we call it something, and we say it has two variants, 1 and 2. And an enum, same as a struct, we needed to do this to do debug printing. But let's see what happens if we try to print this out. So first of all, this will not work. And this will also not work. Display does not implement display, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But let's, what if we cast it to U32? Will that work? And it will. It gives us a 0. So let's try, see what 2 gives us. And we can cast it to another number 2 if we want. Anything that can fit the number that's going to come out. And there you go, 0, 1. So Rust, when it creates an enum, it gives each one of these a secret number. So it starts with 0 and goes up. And this you can actually you can modify this a little bit if your enum variant doesn't have any data. So if you do this, you can't. But if you just have enum names, then you can play around with the numbers. And I'll show you just one more example. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Main function, and then we're going to import or use season so that we only have to write spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And then let's make a vec. And what we are going to do is put in each of these variants into the vec. So it will be a vec of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And now we're going to actually, we haven't gotten into for loops yet, but we'll see those I think just after enums. 4 seasons. So this will look at every season inside here, and then we'll print it out. Season. Let's see what's going on here. See, that's right, I forgot to cast it as U32. So there you go. Now let's play around with these numbers. Let's say we actually want to use them. So we've got a brown dwarf. Let's make some types of stars. You have a red dwarf. There is a yellow star and a red giant and a dead star. And what we can do, so that this will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but we can say, instead of 0, we want you to call this 10, and we want you to call this 50, and we want you to call this 100, and we want you to call this 1000 instead. And Rust will let us do that because this is not carrying any other data. So we just do an equals, and it will use the number that we tell it to use. And so let's import star, and then let's make a vec again. And this time it's called star vec. And you know what? I'm just going to copy and paste this time. So we use our macro to make a vector, and each one of them is a type of star in star vec, and we're going to match it. So match star as U32. So we're going to take the numbers here and match it, and let's call it size. If size is less than or equal to 80, and then we will print and say not the biggest star. So this will be, you know, this and this are under 80. And then we can do the same thing. Size, if size is greater than 80, then we will say, let's see, this is a good sized star. And then the last is if and then we'll say, I don't know, some other type of star, because it will want to see the you know, every possibility. And then finally here we're going to say what about dead star? It's the number, there we go. Dead star is U32. So let's see what happens when we play around with this. So it starts out with you know, this brown dwarf and red dwarf, and it says it's not the biggest star. And this one, the next two are a lot larger, and then dead star. This is the interesting part. It's the number 1001. So if you indicate the number for some of them and you don't for another one, then it'll start from here and move up the index. So it won't start at 0. It'll go from here and then just add 1. So now it's item number 1001. And this is not used very much, but it's kind of it's a fun trick to know. Sometimes you can sneak data into your enum without having to put these brackets here and, you know, say, you know, I want it to be an I32. You can just sneak it in like this, and that can be kind of fun.